What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here on the Fantasy Fellowship channel. My name is Kyle. Today, we're going to be doing a PPR mock draft. This is a 10-team full PPR mock. We're going to be using the 5th overall pick in this one. I've done a ton of mock drafts. You guys can check out the link. I put the link in the comments of the playlist. So if you guys want to check out other mock drafts I've done with various formats and roster spots, stuff like that. But for now, we're going to hop into a screen share here. I like doing the sleeper mocks because they're pretty quick. I can do maybe a 15-minute video and get the mock in and out. We're just going to do the 1 QB, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, and a flex. Again, the general settings, full PPR, 10 teams. I'll give myself about 2 minutes per pick. And yeah, let's get it going. I'm going to hop right into it here. Let's get that 5 spot claimed. And 5's tough. I think there's a clear top 4 this year with JJ, CMC, Chase, and Eckler. We're going to hit start and see what we can come up with after that. Maybe one of those guys falls. I'm not expecting it to. But if one of those 4 fall, I think you got to take one of those guys. The big question here is, do I take Travis Kelce? Do I take Tyreek Hill? Do I take Cooper Kupp? Bijan is there. Stephon Diggs is there. The running backs are there. I don't know if I've done a mock draft where I've taken Kelce as high as 5, but I do think in a 10-team league, getting Travis Kelce is a little bit bigger of an advantage. I'm open to doing this. And maybe we just try it for the mock. Otherwise, if you want to take that receiver there, Tyreek Hill is probably that guy. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to pass on Travis Kelce. Let's see what this looks like if I take Tyreek Hill. We know Tyreek Hill is really good in that offense in Miami. Tua obviously is a question mark with his health, but even if something does happen to Tua, Mike White can keep things afloat. We saw Mike White do that last year for the Jets. So let's grab Tyreek Hill to be our wide receiver 1. I think there might be a running back or 2 that come back to us, but let's see what happens with taking Tyreek Hill 5th overall in a full PPR 10-team mock draft. Kelce, Lamb, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Saquon Barkley finish up the top 10. After the first round, you got Bijan, Diggs, Henry, Pat Mahomes, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. And guess what? We get it kind of worked out here. I get Nick Chubb, who's one of my top running backs to fall. Basically, I've been saying you want one of the top 6 running backs. And to me, those running backs are in any order. It's CMC, Eckler, Barkley, Bijan, Chubb, and Tony Pollard. I feel the best about those 6 backs this season. I think Derrick Henry's fine, but I'm just nervous about age and the Titans offense a little bit. Everything looks really good for Nick Chubb. So he's the pick here. Devontae, I got questions on. Jonathan Taylor, I got questions on. The Jets offense could be nice, but I'm seeing big concerns with the offensive line right now. Don't know what's going on with Josh Jacobs. I really like Tony Pollard too. If Pollard wasn't, if Nick Chubb wasn't here, I'd consider Pollard here. But let's go ahead and lock in Nick Chubb. I think he's a top 5 running back this year. It gives us access to Tyreek Hill, a top 5 receiver, and access to a top 5 running back. So a nice balanced start here. We went fishing and got ourselves a nice running back 1. After I take Chubb, Devontae, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs finish the 2nd round. Beginning in round 3, you see Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard, Ramondre, Olave, and we're back up to pick now. Jalen Waddle is available. I don't know if I want to stack both Dolphins receivers. I think I'm fine with just letting that be. Now we have some decisions. We could take Jalen Hurts, a top QB off the board. He probably shouldn't be the 3rd quarterback taken between Mahomes and Josh Allen. So I'm kind of thinking we try the early QB strategy and see what we can pull off here. Mark Andrews is the other tight end that sticks out. Otherwise, T. Higgins, Najee, Devonta. I think the board's telling me to take Jalen Hurts here. His ADP is 23, so we're getting him a couple picks behind that. Let's go ahead and grab one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy football. I love the Eagles offense. Like, we didn't get A.J. Brown. We can maybe get Devonta Smith on the comeback, but probably not. So let's try it. Let's go Tyreek, Chubb, and Jalen Hurts. Breece Hall, Mark Andrews, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, and T. Higgins finish the 3rd round. In the beginning of the 4th, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, Najee Harris, Deebo Samuel, Travis Etienne, Joe Mixon, and it worked. We're going to get a Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts stack. Joe Burrow, Lamar, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, these are the best available players, but Devonta Smith should not have fallen this far. I don't know if this is what's going to happen in your mock draft there, but we have to do it. This is the best case scenario for this team. We get a fun little Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith stack with Tyreek Hill and Nick Chubb. This draft is going perfectly well right now. And if Devonta Smith wasn't here, I'm probably looking at Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen. Those are probably the top two guys for me. You can maybe argue Amari Cooper, but let's go ahead and lock in Devonta Smith. After Devonta goes, you see Burrow, Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley, and TJ Hawkinson finish the fourth round. Beginning of the fifth round, it goes Lamar, Kittle, Cooper, Aaron Jones, and we're back on the clock here. There are some good QBs available here, so if you wanted to wait, I don't mind pulling Fields or Justin Herbert. Kenneth Walker, a solid running back 2 option for you. But I'm doing this in real time. Traylon Burks just went down with a leg injury in Titans practice. I think they're scrimmaging the Vikings this week. He had to get kind of limped off the field and had to get carted off the field. So I don't know the severity of that injury, but if you're drafting this weekend, DeAndre Hopkins all of a sudden looks like a pretty good 5th round pick. I know he's up there in age. I know it's Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, but boy, oh boy, if Traylon Burks is out for the year, hopefully not. Hopefully he's just out for a little bit. But DeAndre Hopkins, man, we know he's a really good player. I think I should maybe try mock drafting with DeAndre Hopkins as my wide receiver 3. He fits my starting roster mold. He can slot in right here as the 3. And who knows, you might get wide receiver 2 production out of D-Hop. He's going to lead the team in targets. We know this. So I'm going to take D-Hop to be my number 3 receiver. And now we have an RB2 spot to fill, a tight end spot, and a flex spot. I'd like to get some running back soon and maybe a 4th receiver to compete with D-Hop there. But after I take Hopkins, you got Kenneth Walker, Judy, Fields, Herbert, and Trevor Lawrence. End of round 5. Beginning of round 6 is McLaurin, Dameon Pierce, Sanders, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin. We're up to pick. Drake London, Christian Watson, J.K. Dobbins are the top players available here. I'm leaning towards J.K. Dobbins being my running back 2 here. I do like a bunch of running backs later in this draft here, but I think J.K. is probably the move. If you didn't want to go with Dobbins and you wanted to get a 4th receiver, it's London or Christian Watson, and then it looks like a drop-off there at the wide receiver spot. But we've already got 3 good ones. Let's grab J.K. Dobbins here. And again, if you wanted to take London or Watson and put them in your flex, I'm all for that. But I do want to buy a piece of the Ravens offense. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be fine. He's back off the PUP list and practicing. He looks good. And that offense should be a lot more exciting this year. So we grab J.K. Dobbins to be our RB2 in the 6th round. Madison, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, and Drake London finish the 6th. Beginning of the 7th is Watson, Marquise, James Conner, Alvin Kamara. Now we're up to pick here in the 7th round. Dallas Goedert and Darren Waller are the top players available. I don't know if I want to do a mega stack here with Hurts, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert, but Goddard's one of my favorite tight ends to take. I think if you wanted to pull a tight end here, Darren Waller might be that guy. We could potentially wait and see what tight ends come back around. I do feel pretty strongly, though, about Goedert, Waller, and Freiermuth being the guys that I'm looking for. So maybe we try and weasel in a Pat Freiermuth here in round 8. But again, to be honest, I think the Hurts, Devonta, Goedert trio could be really, really fun. I don't think I would advise against it. I think it has a lot of upside. But Darren Waller at 62, I think that's probably what I'm going to do here. Let's grab Darren Waller, our tight end 1, and we filled up all of our starting spots now except the flex. So we got 2 running backs, Chubb and Dobbins, 3 receivers, Tyreek, Devonta, D-Hop, and we got Darren Waller at tight end. And we're going to get some good options here. I'm liking the board right now. After I take Waller, you see Ayuk. That would have been a good pick. Cam Akers, Goddard, Pittman, Kirk, end of round 7. Beginning of round 8 is Dalvin Cook, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Deontay, Dak Prescott. To me, we don't have a Charger yet, so Mike Williams sticks out a lot as our number 4 flex player. Otherwise, I like Pickens, I like Addison, I like Dotson, I did like Burks, but we'll see about that now. But I'm going to run in, and yeah, there's some running backs available here, but I want to wait for Montgomery or James Cook. So I'm going to grab Mike Williams here to be my 4th wide receiver and starting flex play right here. Let's take a look. Who falls back to us? Rachaad White, Deshaun Watson, Evans, Addison, Javonte, Pacheco, Burks, and George Pickens. And this worked out really nicely. I'm looking at David Montgomery or James Cook. I think both guys are fantastic in pretty much any format this year. James Cook as a PPR back, I think is a super exciting player. We don't have a Buffalo Bill or a Detroit Lion yet. So those are the guys that I'm looking at here. Take your favorite one. I think James Cook has a lot of upside. I think he's going to be the lead rusher for the Buffalo Bills, and he's also going to be probably their 3rd or 4th best receiving weapon. After Diggs, Gabe Davis, you're looking at Kincaid or probably, James Cook as the next man up in reception. So I like both guys here. I don't know if James Cook would fall back to us here. So I think what I'm going to do, let's grab James Cook and see, again, either one. If I had to choose one bullet to my head, I think in a PPR, I'm going to take James Cook, but I really like Montgomery's safety net too. But I'm going to take, screw it. We're going to take Montgomery. We'll see if Cook falls. He's probably not going to fall. Either way, I love both of those running backs, both great picks. Kadarius Toney, A.J. Dillon, James Cook, Evan Ingram, Jahan Dotson finished the 9th round. Beginning of the 10th, you got Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, Gibson, Brandon Cooks, JSN, or Juju Smith-Schuster, my bad. And you see, we get some tight ends to fall here. Pat Freiermuth and David Njoku. I like both of those picks. So we did just take Monty, our RB3. We got 4 receivers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bench spots left. Personally, I like Brian Robinson a lot. I think he's locked in as the starting running back for the Commanders. He's a good pick here. Otherwise, wide receivers. Michael Thomas is interesting for the Saints. I like Gabe Davis. We didn't get a Buffalo Bill yet. That could be a nice addition to the offense. The way the board's lying right now, I'm going to grab Brian Robinson to be our RB4. I'm feeling pretty good about that group of Chubb, Dobbins, and then we can rotate Montgomery or Brian Robinson. I might pull one more guy at the end of the draft, but either way, that's feeling good, pretty good for our running back room. Wide receivers left available. They're giving us Beckham, Elijah Moore, and Cortland Sutton. I think that's probably the best area to look here in the draft. We don't need tight end. We don't need QB. Running backs available look okay. I do like Khalil Herbert here if you wanted to pull that, but I think there's going to be a running back or two that I like a little bit later. We'll talk about that in a sec. I'm going to grab Elijah Moore. I know I already got Nick Chubb on the Browns. I could take Cortland Sutton here. It sounds like he's having a pretty nice camp as well. And maybe we do that. I like both Elijah Moore and Cortland Sutton a lot. I've already got the Brown. I'm going to try and get some exposure to the Broncos passing offense. Cortland Sutton sounds like he's been, studying the Michael Thomas slot tape a lot this year. It sounds like he's also a little bit more agile and quicker. So let's go ahead and grab Cortland Sutton here to be our wide receiver 5. He's going to compete for flex duties with Williams, Montgomery, Brian Robinson. So it's just another body for us. After Sutton, you got Odell Beckham, Jamal Williams, Herbert, Kmet, Kirk Cousins. Beginning around 12 is Elijah Moore, Charbonnet, Schultz, Pirine, and Jerick McKinnon. Dalton Kincaid's a nice stash. Devon Achane's a nice stash. I think you want to get some of these rookies stashed on your team, but there is one guy that stuck out before. That's going to be Sky Moore. I think he's the one guy that I think you have to put on your bench. If you're drafting this weekend, try and get Sky Moore on your bench. He's going to be the starting slot receiver for Pat Mahomes. And now we have 6 really solid wide receivers. I have 2 more bench spots to fill. I don't know if I want to grab anybody in particular here. We've already got Jalen Hurts. I don't think we need to. Looking around here at the running backs and the wide receivers and the tight ends, I'm going to grab my favorite running back right now to put on my bench, and that's going to be Jaylen Warren. I think he's personally better than Najee Harris. All the metrics agree with that statement. He did play more snaps and more. He had more touches in the preseason game, week 1 with the starters. So Jaylen Warren, put him on your bench. Okonkwo, we got some defenses and kickers coming off the board now, so we're kind of off the rails a little bit. We've got 5 good running backs. I'm going to grab one more wide receiver pull here. I really like Bateman, Jacoby. Like, there's some good players here, but let me go look at tight end real quick. I want to grab my favorite tight end to grab late is Jake Ferguson. You can also throw in Luke Musgrave, but I feel pretty good about the Dallas Cowboys second-year tight end, Jake Ferguson. We'll just back up our Darren Waller with Jake Ferguson. And so we got no backup QB. Everybody else we have a backup for. Defenses and kickers, they're going to give us some good options here. I love the New Orleans Saints for the long haul. This season, they have the easiest schedule this year, so that's the obvious choice here. If you're playing for week 1, go get the Washington Commanders because they're going to play the Arizona Cardinals week 1, but I'm going to grab the Saints. And then with a kicker, I'm trying to just get a decent kicker on a decent team. Hopefully, a guy in a dome would be preferred, but if they're going to give me Jason Myers here, I'm fine with that. They don't. Jason Sanders for the Dolphins, Graham Gano. Let's see. Sleepers got to update their kickers. They don't have everybody in here, I think, but I'll grab the Jags kicker. They're going to score points this year, but there you go. That's our draft. Started off with Tyreek Hill in the 5 spot, came back with Nick Chubb. We got Jalen Hurts. Devonta Smith stacked with Jalen Hurts. We got DeAndre Hopkins as our 3, J.K. Dobbins as our 2, Darren Waller, and then look at our bench. This is all the competition for our final flex spot, and then, if we need a guy at RB2 or our wide receiver 3, these are our competitions here. Mike Williams, David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Cortland Sutton, Sky Moore, Jalen Warren, and Jake Ferguson in the New Orleans Saints D and Brandon McManus. So there you go. That is my mock draft from the 5th spot in a 10-team PPR over on Sleeper. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the draft or if you have any questions. Have a good day. Peace.